You lie back as the world around you slowly fades, and instead of drifting into your own nightly thoughts, you find yourself slipping into the Middle Ages, a place where dreams were taken far more seriously than you ever expected. The air feels different here, warmer, heavier, carrying a faint blend of wood smoke, wool grease, and that charming medieval scent that historians politely call earthy. Your eyes adjust to a dim, golden glow flickering from a tallow candle at your bedside. It buzzes just slightly, as if annoyed at its own existence. You hear distant sounds, someone walking over creaky floorboards, a clatter of pottery, maybe a rooster contemplating an early scream, and already you feel that sleepy medieval calm start to wrap around you. You blink, settling into a small wooden bed stuffed with straw. The fibers poke through the linen sheet like they have personal grudges. Above you, the ceiling beams cross like dark ribs, each one creaking with the night wind. You feel the cold nipping at your toes, because medieval blankets were usually just more blankets instead of anything fancy like insulation. You run your hand over the wool, noticing the rough weave, a good detail to remember later. Because in this world, everything, even dreams, is influenced by textures. You probably won't make it through this day, by the way. Not because anything dramatic happens, but simply because the daily medieval experience is already exhausted by the time dawn arrives. People here lived hard, slept weirdly, and dreamed vividly. And you? Well, you'll see. You shift slightly, listening to the quiet breathing of the people sleeping beside you. Because yes, you're sharing the bed. In a typical medieval household, everyone did. Parents, children, sometimes grandparents, and occasionally a suspicious number of chickens. Privacy was a concept that would not be invented for several centuries. For now, you just try to ignore the elbow resting on your ribs. The candle flickers again, casting wobbly shadows that stretch like tall figures along the wall. You feel a tiny shiver more from the chill than from suspense, and let your breathing slow to match the room's stillness. The wooden shutters rattle lightly. Somewhere outside, a cartwheel groans like it regrets its own choices. A dog barks once, and then remembers it is nighttime and stops. You begin to understand why dreams mattered so much here. Nights were long, dark, and surprisingly noisy. Medieval people believed dreams carried messages, some from God, some from angels, some from demons, and some from whatever ate slightly too much barley stew before bed. At least one monk wrote that dreams born of indigestion deceive the heart, which honestly still feels like something a modern doctor might say diplomatically. In this moment, you breathe in slowly and feel a comforting heaviness settle in your chest, the warmth of the blanket, the softness of the darkness, the quiet promise of sleep. Medieval people often slept in two shifts, known as first sleep and second sleep. After the first sleep, they woke for an hour or two, chatted quietly, prayed, stretched, or simply sat in the dark, pondering their crop yields. Historians still debate whether this schedule was universal or just common enough to be heavily documented. You're not quite asleep yet, but you're drifting. The candle shrinks as the tallow melts, sending its last brave glow across the room. You feel your eyelids soften. The hum of night presses gently around you, like a wool cloak settling across your shoulders. The world feels safe, quiet, cocooned. Before the story settles deeper, a soft voice mine reminds you. If you enjoy these slow journeys into history, I'd be grateful if you gently tap the like button and subscribe. It helps this sleepy little channel survive the medieval level chaos of the algorithm. And if you don't mind, in the comments, tell me where you're listening from and what time it is for you right now. Medieval dreamers loved sharing their visions. You can share yours too. Now let's ease into tonight's journey, letting the candle fade, the world soften, and the dreams of the Middle Ages open slowly before you. You ease deeper into the straw mattress as the last shimmer of candlelight sighs into darkness. The room turns velvety and quiet. Though not perfectly quiet, this is still the Middle Ages. You can hear someone snoring softly beside you, another person shifting their weight, and the faint squeak of the bed frame complaining about the shared burden of medieval family life. Even in the dark, you sense the contours of the room. Low ceiling, thick wooden beams, a chamber pot nearby that you are very determined not to kick over. The cold air settles on your cheeks like a curious whisper. Your breathing slows, syncing with the rhythm of the people around you. Slowly, your mind begins to float. This is what medieval folks called first sleep, the deep, heavy plunge into the earliest phase of night. They believed this was when your soul wandered a little, traveling, learning, visiting places you'd never dare explore while awake. You can feel that sensation now, the gentle tug of drifting outward, as if your thoughts are stepping past the bed and into the stillness. You're not fully dreaming yet, but your mind has started to mix reality and imagination in that cozy, half-melting way. The shadows of the room blur softly. One of the beams above you seems to curve like a bow. The wool blanket feels like a rolling hillside. A breeze pushes under the door, carrying a smell of fresh hay and distant hearth smoke. You let it wash over you, warm and old and quiet. A rooster outside suddenly lets out a confused, premature crow. You blink slowly. Medieval chickens were notoriously unreliable alarm clocks, perhaps the only tradition still alive today. You chuckle mentally, though your body is far too relaxed to move. Somewhere in this drifting haze, you recall hearing a peculiar medieval belief. Dreams in the first sleep were said to come from angels. These early visions were pure, untainted by the clutter of daily thoughts, which apparently reset themselves sometime between midnight and the second sleep. Historians still debate whether people truly experienced dreams differently during these phases, or whether medieval writers simply enjoyed categorizing things into cosmic filing systems. Your eyelids flutter as your thoughts sink a little deeper. You imagine yourself walking through the village you passed earlier, a replay of the day transformed by the quiet of night. The very street looks different in dreamlight. The thatched roofs seem to glow faintly, and the cobblestones glisten, as if washed by moonlight. The old well in the center looks taller now, more mysterious, like it holds the dreams of everyone who draws from it. You hear a soft rustling beside you. Someone whispers a prayer, quick, gentle, half asleep. Medieval dreamers often mumbled blessings or protective words before drifting too far, worried that spirits might slip into their dreams uninvited. You feel the warmth of that whisper float across your mind, like a thin blanket of comfort. Your toes curl instinctively against the cold. You shift slightly, brushing against the rough linen and the straw beneath. A single piece pokes you, but even that feels soft in your sleepy state. The mattress groans, the way old wood always groans, carrying centuries of life in every creak. Then something strange happens. Your thoughts begin to drift outside your control. A medieval dream is forming. You feel a tug, gentle but sure, pulling your imagination into shapes it didn't choose. A field appears behind your closed eyes, tall grass swaying, a shepherd walking with a crooked staff, a flock of sheep glowing faintly under moonlight. One sheep looks at you with suspicious intelligence, as if you know something you don't. You smile sleepily. Medieval people often dreamed of animals delivering messages, sometimes angelic, sometimes just confused livestock. A dog barks in the distance. The sound echoes through the dream field and into the bedroom at once. Reality and dream line up like two sheets of parchment pressed together. You breathe in deeply, letting the air of this moment, both imagined and real, fill you gently. Your body loosens. Your mind smooths its edges. You're fully inside the first sleep now, drifting toward the earliest dream of the night. And just before consciousness fully lets go, you remember, this is only the beginning. You ease even deeper into sleep, slipping past the heavy stillness of first rest, and into the soft, flickering world where dreams begin to form clearly. The cold that nipped at your toes moments ago fades away, replaced by a slow warmth blooming through your chest, like an ember settling into a bed of coals. Your breathing becomes so quiet that you barely notice it. The room seems to fall away, dissolving into a gentle haze. This is the moment medieval people knew well, the gate between waking and dreaming, a place they believed angels, spirits, and sometimes mischievous forces waited to slip in with a message or two. Whether or not you believe in such visitors, you certainly feel the shift. The darkness isn't just absence now. It's a canvas, soft and expectant. You find yourself walking through a village lane you saw earlier, but not quite as it was. Here, the buildings lean a little more crookedly, the shadows stretch a little longer, and the moon above you looks perfectly round, as if drawn by a monk with too much time and too little artistic training. You feel your hands brush against the cool stone of a wall as you pass. A faint mist clings to your clothes, smelling of damp hay and freshly turned soil. Somewhere behind you, a church bell chimes a soft note. Not an actual bell, it's too quiet for that, but a memory of a bell drifting into the dream. Medieval people often dreamed of churches, prayers, and symbols they saw every day. One scholar wrote that a dream filled with bells meant the heart is restless, which is poetic, vague, and deeply medieval. You step forward, watching as the dream village shifts again. A cat crosses your path, its tail high, its fur shimmering with the faint silver of moonlight. It pauses, looking at you with a slow blink that feels strangely knowing. In medieval superstition, cats appearing in dreams could mean anything from upcoming luck to the presence of witchcraft to simply too many cats near your bed. Given how many animals slept indoors, the last explanation is probably the safest. The cat trots ahead, guiding you through the narrow lane. You follow, your footsteps soundless. The village feels softer than in waking life. Edges blurred, colors muted into warm browns, golds, and deep blues. The thatched roofs glisten faintly, touched by dreamlight, and the wooden doors seem taller and heavier than before. A moment later, the dream shifts again. This time, you're standing in a small field outside the village. The moon hangs low, enormous and glowing like an illuminated manuscript illustration. The grass sways gently around your ankles. You feel the cool breeze lift your hair, gentle and rhythmic, as if the entire world is breathing with you. Somewhere nearby, a river murmurs. You listen closely. The sound is calming, fluid, repetitive. Medieval dream interpreters believed that dreaming of flowing water meant peace, or occasionally trouble, depending on its clarity. Historians still debate exactly which interpretation was most widespread, mostly because medieval writers were excellent at contradicting each other. You take a few steps forward, letting the grass brush against your legs. A faint scent of wildflowers lingers in the air, soft, powdery, old. The sound of the river draws you, closer until you find its edge, shimmering like liquid moonlight. The surface reflects your face, not your waking face, but a softer version of it, smoothed by the dream's gentle light. You crouch down, reaching toward the water. When your fingers touch the surface, ripples bloom outward, turning into tiny circles of gold. The moment feels slow, delicate, as if you've entered a place where time moves at a different pace. You breathe in deeply, feeling the quiet settle around you like a warm wool cloak. Then, from behind you, a voice whispers your name. Not startling, not frightening, just a soft call, like someone waking you for supper. You turn, expecting to see someone familiar, but the field stands empty. Only the breeze moves, brushing past your ear like a secret. You stand in the quiet, knowing you're deeper in the dream now, closer to the kinds of visions medieval people treasured, feared, and analyzed endlessly. And somewhere in the back of your mind, the real world continues to breathe around your sleeping body, waiting for the dawn of second sleep, waiting for you to go deeper. You drift a little deeper, stepping fully into the dream as if the world beneath your straw mattress has quietly opened a doorway. The field around you softens at the edges, like a painting touched by candlelight. Colors fade into warmer tones, honey, wheat, pale blue shades that feel handcrafted rather than natural. You hear a faint hum in the air, something between wind and memory. As you walk, you notice small objects appearing in the grass. A wooden comb, a sprig of lavender, a single leather shoe far too tiny to belong to any adult. Dreams in the Middle Ages often scattered such symbolic items around, almost like the medieval subconscious enjoyed setting up scavenger hunts. You crouch down to examine the comb. It's simple, carved from polished boxwood, the teeth slightly uneven. You run your thumb over it gently. In medieval dream books, a comb symbolized removing troubles or inviting gossip, which proves that even ancient symbolism couldn't make up its mind. Historians still debate whether people genuinely believed these interpretations or simply enjoyed having something dramatic to say at breakfast. You tuck the comb into your pocket, though you're not entirely sure the pocket exists outside this dream. The lavender smells familiar, sharp and calming. A small piece of your real-life memory leaks in, reminding you of modern essential oils. You chuckle softly in the dream. If only medieval folks had diffusers, their entire worldview might have shifted, and the concept of demons in the rafters might have been downgraded to a mild lavender deficiency. The tiny shoe is curious. You pick it up, feeling how soft the aged leather is. It must have belonged to a child. In dreams of this era, anything related to children carried extra weight. People saw them as spiritual messengers, symbols of innocence, or reminders of responsibility, depending on how much barley ale someone had the night before. You gently place the shoe back where you found it. The moment feels tender, like a small echo of someone's long-ago memory lingering in the dream. The field ahead ripples like a curtain in slow motion. You walk through it, feeling the air shift from cool moonlight to a warm, golden glow. Suddenly, you're inside a different scene, a small medieval kitchen. It's quiet and dusty, as if waiting for you. A clay pot simmers on the hearth, glowing faintly. The scent is earthy and comforting, maybe some type of pottage. Thin, simple, but warm, the medieval equivalent of soup that apologizes for being soup. You run your fingers along the wooden table. It's sturdy, scarred by years of chopping, mixing, kneading. A spindle lies nearby, thread trailing like a pale ribbon. You pick it up gently, letting the thread brush your palm. In medieval dream lore, spinning represented destiny. People genuinely believed that dreaming of thread meant your life was being woven, stretched, or tangled. You smile sleepily. Your own destiny right now seems to be drifting further and further into this soft, surreal night. A faint breeze enters through the kitchen window. You glance outside and see something strange. The moon, impossibly large, glowing with a warm halo. Its edges shimmer like gold leaf in a manuscript. A medieval monk once wrote that a glowing moon in dreams meant the heart is illuminated, which sounds poetic enough to make up for the fact that he also claimed carrots weren't real vegetables. You're not sure he was right about either. You step outside the kitchen and find yourself back in the village lane again. But this time, everything feels quieter. The cobblestones seem to float slightly above the ground. The houses lean inward as though listening. You walk slowly, your footsteps silent. A lantern dangles from a hook, but the flame inside burns with an odd blue glow, calm, steady, otherworldly. A dog trots by, its fur shimmering with dreamlight. It pauses, lifting its head toward you. Its eyes seem to reflect scenes you haven't dreamed yet, which is either profound or unsettling depending on how awake you are. The dog gives a soft huff and continues on its way, as if satisfied that you're headed in the right direction. You follow the lane until it widens into a small square. There, at the center, stands a structure you didn't see earlier, a stone archway. Moss covers its sides, glowing faintly in the dream's warm hues. The arch feels ancient, older than the village itself, older than the land, older than the memory of whoever dreamed it first. A gentle tug pulls you forward. You step beneath the arch, feeling a soft vibration in the air, like the hum of a lullaby sung from somewhere far away. The dream changes again. This time, you see a figure, not close, not clear, just a presence at the far end of the path. They don't move, but the air stirs around them faintly. You feel no fear, only curiosity, wrapped in sleepiness. Medieval dreamers often believed that mysterious figures represented wisdom, ancestors, or divine messages. The truth is probably much simpler. The human brain loves to create mysterious figures because it's bored. You take a slow breath. You step forward just once, and the dream pulls you deeper. You blink slowly, the world reshaping itself around you as dreams often do, without apology and without warning. The figure ahead remains distant, still, like a smudge of ink on parchment. The air feels warmer now, filled with the scent of damp earth, wild herbs, and old wood scents that belong to stories older than you can name. The stone arch behind you fades away, replaced by a forest path. Tall trees rise overhead, their branches tangled like fingers reaching toward each other. Their leaves shimmer with colors that don't belong to any season, soft greens, dusty rose, muted gold. The moon filters through them in delicate patches, turning the path into a ribbon of silver. As you walk, you notice the ground feels softer, like moss under bare feet. The forest hums with quiet life. You hear an owl somewhere above your head, calling into the night with a low, hollow sound. Medieval people believed owls in dreams symbolized hidden knowledge or warnings. Or, occasionally, just owls. Again, the dream books weren't known for consistency. You pause, laying your hand on the bark of a tree. It's warm. Not metaphorically warm, actually warm. Like it remembers sunlight long after nightfall. You feel the faint thrum of something alive beneath the bark. The tree hums quietly back at you, as if acknowledging your presence. You smile a little. This dream has personality. Ahead, the figure slowly becomes clearer. A hooded shape, draped in long, dark fabric that moves like smoke. They don't speak. They simply wait, as though they expected you hours ago. A medieval dream interpreter might call this a dream walker, a messenger, a shadow, or a guide. You take another soft step forward, but before you reach them, something at your feet catches your eye. A small, carved token rests on the ground, a little wooden fish, smoothed by time. You pick it up gently. Medieval Christians often used fish as symbols of faith, hope, or protection. Dreaming of one was considered a sign of spiritual strength, or a reminder to eat less salted cod before bed. The interpretations varied widely. You slip the wooden fish into your pocket, next to the comb from earlier. The dream seems to be giving you small pieces of someone else's life, or perhaps your own, shaped by medieval imagery. It's hard to tell where meaning ends and dream logic begins. The hooded figure raises a hand not to warn you away, but simply to acknowledge you. Their gesture is slow and graceful, like someone turning the page of an illuminated book. You feel a gentle pull in your chest, a curiosity so soft it feels like drowsiness wearing a cloak. You step closer. The forest breathes with you. The leaves shimmer faintly. A breeze carries the scent of rosemary and smoke. You hear distant chanting, soft, melodic, the kind of sound monks make when they've had too much quiet time and decide to sing about it. The figure finally speaks, but the voice is gentle, warm, neither male nor female. It echoes slightly, as though spoken in a church nave. You walk between waking and dream, the voice says calmly. This is the place where meaning unfolds. You nod, though you're not sure whether your dream self fully understands. The figure tilts their head, studying you the way a medieval scholar might study a frog. Curious, mildly confused, but dedicated to the process. You carry symbols tonight. They will guide you. A rustle in the trees interrupts the moment. The wind shifts. The dream changes again, not violently, just gracefully, like turning a page. The figure lowers their hand. Go on, they say softly. There is more to see. You turn, finding a new path opening through the woods, glowing faintly with pale golden light. You take a deep breath, feeling the forest gather its quiet around you, and you step forward, deeper into the heart of the medieval dream. The night is far from over. You take a slow breath as you follow the faintly glowing path, the air around you warming with each step. The forest grows wider, softer, almost welcoming, as if it understands you're not here to rush, or to fight, or to interpret its mysteries too quickly. You're simply walking quietly, gently letting the dream guide you the way medieval thinkers used to let their visions explain the world when waking life refused to. The trees lean slightly inward, as though listening to something you cannot hear. Their branches sway in a rhythm that feels intentional, like slow breathing. You brush your fingers along a low branch, feeling the rough texture of bark under your touch. It feels oddly stabilizing, one of the few solid, grounded sensations in a dream full of shifting edges. A soft glow appears on the path ahead. You squint slightly and realize it's coming from small objects scattered along the ground. You kneel down and find a set of old coins, silver pennies, tarnished, but still gleaming faintly. Their designs are simple: a cross, a crowned head, and the faint outline of a building. Medieval currency wasn't subtle about its themes. You pick one up and roll it between your fingers. It feels cool, smooth, unmistakably real. In medieval dream lore, coins meant change, literal or metaphorical. They could predict good fortune, or a warning, or simply the fact that someone had been thinking about debts before bed. Historians still debate whether these interpretations were shared by everyday villagers, or just the monks who enjoyed writing very serious books about unknowable things. You stand, slipping the coin into your pocket with the wooden fish and the comb. Your pocket is becoming quite the medieval grab bag, a growing archive of symbols the dream seems determined to hand you one by one. The odd part is how natural it feels. Dream logic rarely asks your permission. Further down the path, you hear a soft crackling sound. At first, you think it's leaves, But then you see a tiny fire burning in a small stone circle, no, higher than your knee. It gives off a warm, golden glow, illuminating a clearing ahead. You approach cautiously, though not fearfully. The heat feels comforting, like standing near a hearth after coming in from a frostbitten evening. You kneel near the fire. No one else is around. The flames move slowly, almost dreamily, as though underwater. They flick and curl with an almost deliberate rhythm. In medieval dream accounts, fire symbolized purification, insight, or divine presence, depending entirely on how likely someone was to panic at the sight of flames. You watch the fire dance and feel your mind quiet, your thoughts smoothing like warm wax. A sudden flutter of wings startles you gently. A small bird, soft grey with a dash of white, lands on the ground near the fire. Its head tilts, curious, unafraid. It hops closer, tapping its beak on the stones. You freeze, not wanting to disrupt the moment. Medieval dreamers believed that birds were messengers between worlds, not because of magic, necessarily, but because birds were the only creatures that could go where humans could not. Above. You smile at the thought. Even now, the dream feels as though it's trying to show you things from an elevated perspective. The bird hops once more, then flutters away, disappearing into the trees as silently as it arrived. The clearing remains warm, still, patient. You feel another shift in the dream, not a jolt, but a soft unfolding, like a curtain being drawn back. The trees ahead part slightly, revealing a narrow stream flowing through the forest. The water glows faintly with pale blue light. You walk toward it, feeling your footsteps lighten. The stream is gentle, quiet, carrying tiny specks of golden light downstream as though ferrying stars. You crouch at the water's edge and dip your fingers in. The water is cool, cooler than the air, crisp and refreshing, but the sensation doesn't wake you. If anything, it pulls you deeper. Medieval dream interpreters. I thought water symbolized the emotional state of the dreamer. Calm. If the water was calm, troubled if it churned. Your water flows smooth and steady, almost soft enough to lull you to sleep within your sleep. You watch the glimmering water and see something drifting downstream. A small parchment scrap. You reach out and catch it gently. Unrolling it, you find only a single symbol, a spiral, drawn with dark ink. Simple. Mysterious. Meaningful in the vague, poetic way medieval people loved. Spirals sometimes represented life's path, or confusion, or God, or just someone doodling because parchment was expensive and boredom was a sin. You tuck the parchment into your pocket. Your growing collection shifts lightly, reminding you that this dream is building towards something. Even if you don't yet know what. A soft voice, maybe the breeze, maybe memory whispers, "Go on." You rise slowly, feeling the warmth of the moment settle into your bones. Then you cross the stream, stepping onto the next part of the dream, where something unseen is waiting for you, and the night's deeper meanings begin to gather. You step across the stream and feel the dream shift again, gently, like a warm blanket being tugged higher across your shoulders. The forest thins as the path widens, and a soft silver mist curls around your ankles. It feels cool, almost silky, brushing your skin like trailing fabric. You breathe in slowly. The air tastes faintly of mint and old stone, an oddly refreshing combination that makes you wonder if medieval people ever dreamed of flavors the way you do now. Ahead, the path bends toward a small meadow. Moonlight pours across it in soft sheets, illuminating every blade of grass with delicate clarity. The meadow feels quieter than the forest, somehow more sacred, as if you've stepped into a place where time takes long, slow breaths. You glance upward and notice the stars glowing far brighter than any modern sky would ever allow. Pale gold, soft blue, distant crimson. The constellations look familiar, but not quite right. The dream has rearranged them just slightly, as though editing a manuscript for better storytelling. As you walk through the meadow, you hear a faint sound, distant singing. Gentle, wordless, almost like a lullaby hummed by someone who has forgotten the lyrics but remembers the melody. It weaves through the grass, drifting toward you. Medieval people often believed that hearing singing in a dream meant guidance, or comfort, or occasionally illness. You decide it means comfort. The singing draws you toward a large stone in the center of the field. It's smooth, worn by centuries, and glows faintly in the moonlight. You place your hand on its surface. It's warm and steady, like touching the sun's memory. A faint vibration hums under your palm, slow and soothing, almost like a heartbeat, except impossibly calm. This stone feels like an anchor. A point in the dream that refuses to shift no matter how the scenery changes. As you stand there, you become aware of something happening in your own mind. Pictures forming, dissolving, reforming. Modern dreams do this too. But here you can feel the process, like turning pages between fragmented memories. Colors shift behind your eyelids. Scenes whisper past faces, places, things you've forgotten but stored somewhere deep. It's a quiet unfurling, gentle and curious. Medieval thinkers genuinely believed that dreams revealed a person's inner book, the part of the soul that only night could read. Historians still debate whether they meant this literally or poetically, but either way, you suspect they would approve of this moment. You sit on the warm stone, letting the dream settle around you. The grass moves softly, brushing your legs. Fireflies drift lazily through the air, glowing in slow pulses like drowsy lanterns. One lands on your hand and rests there, glowing quietly. You smile. In medieval dreams, fireflies didn't carry much symbolic meaning. They were simply insects. But here, in this dream, they feel like tiny companions, sparks of ancient light drifting through the night with you. Your thoughts grow slower, heavier, almost liquid. The dream encourages you to relax deeper. You feel the meadow cradle you, like lying in a soft cradle woven from moonlight and sleepy grass. The singing stops. The dream grows still. And from somewhere far off in the forest, or the stars, or maybe inside your own drifting mind, you sense something waking up. Not a threat, not a presence, just a recognition. As though the dream has finally noticed you're fully here. You lie back on the warm grass, eyes half closed, letting the dream stretch gently into new shapes, and the night welcomes you deeper. The meadow slowly melts into darkness, not the unsettling kind, but the soft, velvety darkness that feels like being wrapped in a heavy wool cloak on a cold evening. You float in it, suspended, weightless, the way a thought floats between forming and fading. Your breathing slows, syncing with the gentle rhythm of the dream's pulse. Then, as if someone lights a lantern in the distance, a new scene materializes around you. You're in a medieval bedroom again, but not the one where your body sleeps. This is a dream bedroom, faintly idealized in that strange medieval way where everything feels both familiar and slightly exaggerated. The wooden beams curve gracefully overhead. Shadows flicker along the lime-washed walls, though no candle burns nearby. A simple chest sits at the foot of the bed, its iron hinges curling like vines. You sit up slowly, noticing how soft the bed feels, much softer than the real straw mattress beneath your actual body. Dream mattresses are far kinder. You stretch your fingers, feeling them pass through a faint shimmer in the air, like touching warm dust motes suspended in sunlight. On the small table beside you sits an object you've never seen before. A manuscript. Closed, bound in worn leather. Its surface glows faintly, almost breathing. You run your hand over it. The leather feels warm, alive, as though it remembers being part of something that once stood in sunlight for many years. You lift the cover gently. Inside, the pages are blank, completely blank. Medieval dreamers saw blank books as powerful symbols. The future unwritten, the self unshaped, or, in at least one dramatic monastic account, a sign that the dreamer should stop stealing figs from the abbey garden. Historians still debate whether that monk was making a metaphor or writing a passive-aggressive diary entry. You trace a finger across the empty page. Ink blooms beneath your touch. Soft, black, spreading in elegant curls like vines growing in fast motion. A single symbol forms, a small spiral, the same one you found on the parchment drifting in the stream. You feel a subtle tug in your chest, as if the dream is connecting its clues. The spiral pulses lightly, glowing with pale gold. And suddenly you hear a quiet knock at the door. Not loud, just 2 gentle taps. You glance around the room. The air thickens slightly, like the moment before rain. Another knock. You stand, feet silent on the floor, and open the door. No one is there, only a narrow hallway, stretching into soft shadows. You step into it. The hallway feels warm, like the inside of a memory. The wooden boards creak softly beneath you. A draft brushes past your cheek, guiding you forward. You follow it, drifting deeper, letting the dream lead without questioning. At the end of the hall stands a door round-topped, old, with iron studs glinting in the dim light. You place your hand on it. It swings open on its own, and you find yourself standing inside a small chapel, not a real one, but a dream version. Arches too tall, candles floating without wicks, shadows bending in ways that make gentle sense only here. A tapestry hangs on the far wall, shimmering slightly. You walk toward. The image shows a sleeping figure, someone lying on a bed, surrounded by stars, animals, and strange symbols that don't belong in the waking world. Some are familiar to you. The wooden fish, the comb, the tiny shoe. They all float around the sleeper like guardians. Then you notice something else. The sleeper is wearing your clothes. Your breath catches not in fear, just in the soft surprise that only dreams can make feel profound. Medieval people believed that seeing yourself sleeping in a dream meant your mind was peeling back layers of the soul. Something about introspection, revelation, or simply too much honeyed wine. Interpretations varied. They always did. You reach out and touch the tapestry. It ripples under your fingertips like warm water, and the chapel dissolves into a new landscape, one you haven't seen yet. A dream behind the dream. A place waiting quietly for you to step inside. And you do. The world settles into place around you once again, forming slowly, like a watercolor painting drying into clarity. You stand at the edge of a quiet valley, blanketed in soft, dream-lit grass. A thin mist curls along the ground, not obscuring it but decorating it like the dream wants you to notice every step you take. A single lantern hangs from a crooked wooden post in front of you. Its flame glows steady and warm, though there's no breeze to make it sway. You walk toward it, drawn closer by the soft golden light. The lantern creaks as though relieved to see someone, and as you approach, it lifts gently from the post untethered, floating just above eye level. It drifts ahead of you like a patient guide. You follow. The valley is silent except for the faint rustle of grass brushing your ankles. Above, the sky has shifted again. The stars swirl in gentle spirals, forming patterns that you feel you almost recognize, like symbols from an old manuscript or shapes your mind once, traced in a moment of absent thought. You tilt your head, trying to make sense of them, but as soon as you focus, the constellations rearrange themselves mischievously. Dreams do not care for being understood too early. As you walk, you notice something strange. The ground beneath you is sprinkled with tiny fragments of pottery, blue, white, reddish clay, each piece glowing faintly. You kneel to pick one up. It's smooth, curved, part of a bowl or jug once used by someone long gone. Medieval people often dreamed of broken pottery as a sign of change or renewal, one thing ending, another beginning. You run your thumb along its edge, and it hums softly with the warm tone of something remembered. You slip the shard into your pocket. The lantern drifts farther ahead, pausing occasionally, as if waiting for you to catch up. When you do, it moves on, leading you toward a gentle slope. At the top of the hill, you see a structure. An old round tower made of stone, its surface covered in twisting vines that glow faintly in moonlight. You climb the hill slowly, feeling your breath deepen, your body and dream self blending into a comfortable heaviness. The closer you get, the taller the tower feels, not intimidating, just ancient, a keeper of stories. The lantern floats to the tower's doorway and stops, hovering. You step inside. The interior is warm, glowing with soft golden light. Candles float in small groups, drifting like sleepy fireflies. A stone stairway spirals upward, inviting you gently. You place your hand on the cool railing and begin the climb. As you ascend, the walls whisper with faint echoes, snatches of old prayers, fragments of lullabies, half-formed thoughts someone once dreamed. Medieval people believed towers represented the mind reaching upward toward understanding. Or sometimes they simply meant someone wanted to climb more than they wanted to walk. Interpretations differed, as medieval interpretations inevitably did. Halfway up, you pass a small alcove. Inside, a wooden box sits on a stone shelf. You open it carefully. Inside rests a small metal key, bronze, ornate, with a spiral carved into the handle. The same spiral, you feel a quiet thrill of recognition. You take the key and tuck it deep into your pocket. The lantern, still drifting beside you, gives a soft flicker, as though approving. At last, you reach the top of the tower. A circular chamber opens around you, filled with soft cushions and blankets woven from warm hues: ochre, rust, deep blue. It looks like a room built for resting, watching, thinking. In the center stands a tall wooden door carved with patterns of stars and waves. There's no lock, only a keyhole. Your hand moves instinctively to your pocket. You slide the bronze key into the lock. It fits perfectly, turning with a soft click, as if the door had been waiting ages for you. You open it. A warm light spills out, soft and welcoming. You step forward, and the dream shifts again, this time into something deeper, older, and more intimate. You breathe in. You continue. The doorway opens into a room that feels both impossibly vast and intimately familiar. You stand at the threshold, breathing in the warm air. It smells like parchment, old wood, and the faint sweetness of dried herbs. The lighting is soft golden, muted like a sunset that forgot to fade all the way. You step inside. The chamber is round, with shelves lining the walls from floor to ceiling. Each shelf is filled with objects, not books exactly, but artifacts. Small bundles of wool, a carved whistle, bits of bone, smooth river stones, tiny jugs, dried flowers tied with thread. It looks like someone has collected the memories of an entire village and placed them neatly in rows. You walk slowly along the shelves, brushing your fingers over the objects. Every one of them carries a small warmth, like touching a memory through a glove. Medieval people believed dreams were places where the mind revisited its stored images, like wandering through your own mental archive. This room feels exactly like that, a quiet library of your inner world. A small wooden bowl catches your attention. You lift it gently. Inside lies a piece of parchment folded twice. You unfold it carefully and see a short line of writing, not in modern letters, but in a medieval hand. Be mindful of what seeks you. You read it again, letting the ink settle in your mind like a drop of honey dissolving in warm water. It's hard to tell if it's a warning, a comfort, or simply dream poetry. Historians still debate whether dream inscriptions reflected personal fears or just the medieval love of cryptic messages. You place the parchment back in the bowl and return it to the shelf. In the center of the room stands a circular stone platform. Above it, suspended impossibly in the air, floats a small orb of soft white light. It pulses faintly, glowing in slow waves like a heartbeat. You step closer and feel a warmth radiate from. It's sleepy, gentle, inviting. You extend your hand, the orb brightens, then slowly descends until it hovers just a few inches above your palm. It vibrates gently, and your fingers tingle as though touching the edge of a whispered memory. Suddenly, images pulse through your mind, not chaotic, but slow and clear. A medieval woman stirring a pot of herbs, a monk writing by candlelight, a shepherd watching the sky, a child holding a wooden fish, a path through a forest glowing faintly, a spiral carved into stone, all of them connected, all of them part of the dream's quiet logic. The orb's glow softens, then dissolves into a warm mist that drifts around your hand before fading into the air. You feel lighter afterward, as though the dream has given you something, even if you can't name it yet. You step back from the platform and notice another door on the far side of the chamber. This one is smaller, simpler, with no carvings and no keyhole. Just a plain wooden door waiting, patiently. Something about it feels humble, gentle. You walk toward it and place your hand on the wood. It's warm, like sunlight stored in timber. You push it open. On the other side is not another strange room, but a quiet medieval street, still dreamlike, still glowing faintly, but unmistakably part of the world you first entered tonight. The air is cooler here, and a soft wind carries the scent of bread, hay, and distant hearth smoke. The night feels older now, deeper. You step through the doorway, and the dream welcomes you back with open arms. The journey continues, one slow breath at a time. You step quietly into the dream village, the wooden door easing shut behind you with a soft click that feels more like a sigh. The street is empty, but not in a lonely way, more like everyone has gently drifted into their own dreams, leaving the world to you for a moment. The air is cool, carrying a faint hint of smoke from distant hearths. Somewhere far off, a dog barks once, then immediately seems to regret the effort and goes silent again. The moon hangs low over the rooftops, glowing with that slightly too perfect roundness dreams prefer. Its light falls in soft layers across the cobblestones, giving everything a silvery sheen. You walk slowly, your steps soundless. It feels like the village is sleepwalking with you, its breathing aligned with yours, its thoughts drifting somewhere just out of sight. As you pass a small wooden door, you notice a faint glow leaking through the cracks. Curious, you lean closer and hear quiet murmuring, someone speaking softly in their sleep. Medieval people often talked in their dreams, sometimes speaking full sentences or reciting prayers. Families sleeping in the same room heard everything, which meant privacy was just another concept they hadn't invented yet. You smile and continue down the lane. A cart sits near the well, half loaded with woven baskets. One of the baskets contains apples, dream apples, oddly polished, and glowing faintly as if dusted with moonlight. You pick one up. It feels cool in your hand, heavier than you expect. In medieval dream lore, apples symbolized knowledge, temptation, or health, depending on which monk you asked and how early in the morning it was. You take a gentle bite. It tastes familiar, not like the crisp apples of modern markets, but like something wilder, sharper, with a hint of sweetness that lingers on your tongue. You set the apple back in the basket, feeling a warmth settle in your chest. A soft laugh echoes somewhere behind you, not mocking, not eerie, just amused, like someone overheard a pleasant memory. You turn, but the street is empty again. Dreams like to leave their laughter behind like breadcrumbs. A cat strolls past your feet, tail flicking like a brushstroke. Its eyes reflect the moonlight with that same knowing look it had earlier. It pauses, as if deciding whether to allow you the honor of being followed. Finally, it turns and saunters down a narrow side alley. You follow. The alley bends and twists, lined with small doors, shuttered windows, and bundles of herbs hanging from ropes. Dream rosemary, thyme, lavender, all glowing faintly in the lampless light. Their scents drift gently, mingling into something calming and old. Medieval households hung herbs for protection, healing, or simply because they smelled better than the walls did. You reach the end of the alley, where it opens into a tiny courtyard. In its center stands a stone basin filled with water, perfectly still, perfectly reflecting the sky above. You step closer and feel the cool air tighten softly around you, like stepping into a different part of the dream. You peer into the water. At first, you see only your own reflection, but it shifts quickly, dissolving into the image of a medieval woman. Her hair is tucked beneath a linen coif, her eyes soft and tired in a familiar way. She moves her hands as though kneading dough or folding cloth, ordinary tasks, woven into the rhythm of her life. She looks up at you, not surprised to see you, as though she recognizes something of herself in you. Or perhaps you recognize something of yourself in her. Medieval people believed water dreams could show truths or illusions, or both at once. Historians still debate whether these visions reflected daily concerns or spiritual beliefs. You suspect the answer was probably yes to everything. The woman's image ripples gently, fading into another scene. A monk writing by candlelight, pausing to stretch his aching fingers. Then a shepherd boy lying in a field, watching clouds turn into shapes. Then a child sleeping deeply, clutching a small wooden toy. Each vision fades into the next, flowing like ink sliding across parchment. And then, unexpectedly, you see yourself again, but from behind, as though the dream is watching you walk through the village. You see the cat at your feet. You see the apples in the basket. You see the faint glow of the lantern that guided you here. The reflection smiles. You're not sure if it's your reflection or the dream smiling at you, but in this soft, velvety moment, it doesn't matter. The water stills. The courtyard breathes in, and something behind you shifts. You turn slowly. Standing at the courtyard's edge is the hooded figure from earlier. They tilt their heads slightly, not threatening, not urgent, just acknowledging that you've reached the next step. You see now, the figure says gently, that dreams are not simply visions. They are places where memory and meaning meet. You nod. The figure steps aside, revealing a narrow wooden door behind them you hadn't noticed before. Warm light spills from beneath it, inviting you onward. Go, the figure whispers. "The night has more to show you." You place your hand on the door. It opens. You step through the narrow wooden door and find yourself inside a long hallway lit by floating candles, each one suspended in the tar, air like a tiny sun caught mid-thought. Their flames do not flicker. They simply burn with a soft, steady glow, illuminating the stone walls with amber warmth. The air feels denser here, but in a comforting way, like stepping beneath a heavy blanket someone warmed by the fire. Your footsteps echo softly, even though the floor is smooth and padded with woven rushes. The sound isn't sharp or intrusive. It's more like a gentle reminder that you're moving forward. The hooded figure remains behind in the courtyard. You can feel their presence fade with each step. The hallway curves slightly, and as you follow it, you begin to hear whispers, not alarming ones, but soft, airy murmurs, like a group of people telling stories under their breath. You pause, listening. Some voices sound joyful. Others hum with a quiet melancholy. Most speak in the blurred language of dreams, where meaning matters more than words. As you approach the first archway on your left, the whispers grow clearer. You peek inside. It's a small room, round, simple. In the center floats an image. A sleeping medieval man, breath rising and falling peacefully. Around him swirl hazy figures, animals, plants, clouds, people. The dream shifts around him like paint swirling in water. A fox trots by his bed, carrying a loaf of bread. A rooster delivers a sermon atop a wooden stool. A spinning wheel slowly turns on its own. You smile softly. Medieval dreamers often reported animal symbol dreams, some profound, others completely absurd. One scholar wrote about dreaming of a sheep that advised him to marry a baker's daughter. Historians still debate whether that was a metaphor or a very pushy sheep. As you step away, the room dims, and the whispers shift into another set of voices. Further along the hall is another archway. You peek in and see a medieval woman lying in bed, her hands resting on her chest. Her dream shows a great tree filled with glowing fruit. Some fruits fall to the ground and grow into small animals, rabbits, mice, birds. The woman smiles in her sleep. In medieval symbolism, a fruit-bearing tree represented abundance, growth, or spiritual reward, or sometimes indigestion. Again, interpretations varied wildly depending on the dream book and how much ale its author had consumed. You walk on. A third archway reveals a child dreaming quietly, her limbs curled like a small bird. Her dream is simple, a stream of ribbon-like light flowing past her, carrying tiny wooden toys. A spindle, a carved lamb, a piece of bread, a tiny fish, all familiar things, gliding in a warm, gentle pattern. The child reaches toward them in her sleep, smiling faintly. Your chest softens at the sight. The hallway continues deeper, and the whispers grow softer again, blending into a distant hum. You feel the atmosphere shift, the way the quiet in a forest feels different from the quiet in a church. This place is not heavy, not sacred, not ominous. It feels tender. You reach the end of the place, hallway, where another door waits closed, uncarved, humble. You place your palm on the wood. It warms beneath your touch, as though greeting you like an old friend. You open it. Soft golden light spills out, washing over your feet. You step through, and the hallway fades behind you. The dream changes once more into something deeper, more personal. The doorway leads you into a vast room, far larger than any medieval building should realistically contain. It stretches out in a soft oval shape, illuminated by floating lanterns that drift near the high ceiling like sleepy fire spirits. The air is warm, filled with a faint scent of beeswax, vellum, and distant rain. It feels like entering a memory cathedral. Shelves line the walls, but these shelves don't hold books or scrolls. Instead, they hold tiny sealed clay jars, each no bigger than a teacup. Every jar glows faintly with its own color: blue, gold, rose, green, like a sleeping constellation trapped in pottery. You step closer and pick up a pale blue jar. It feels warm in your hand. A small symbol is etched on the lid, a tiny crescent moon. You hold it to your ear without knowing why. A soft sound escapes from within, laughter. Quiet, distant, like someone laughing in their sleep. You smile, recognizing the gentle innocence of a long-forgotten giggle. Medieval people, Believed dreams could be stored in objects, charms, herbs, even small stones. Not literally, of course, but symbolically, a way to carry comfort or meaning into the waking world. This room feels like the dream's interpretation of that belief. You set the jar down and lift another, this one glowing gold. Inside, you hear running water, gentle and steady. Perhaps a river someone loved, or a memory of bathing after a long week of work, or simply the lingering sound of rain on a thatched roof. You return it to the shelf. A rosy pink jar hums faintly. When you open it, a warm breeze brushes your cheek. You see a flash of a meadow, a child running through long grass, hands full of wildflowers. Then the vision fades, slipping back into the jar like a bird, settling into its nest. You close the lid gently. As you move deeper into the archive, the jars begin to glow more brightly. Some pulse with slow, sleepy rhythms. Others flicker like candlelight. All of them hold dream, fragments, moments too gentle to be remembered by waking minds. In the center of the room stands a pedestal. On it rests a single jar, far larger than the others, almost the size of a small pot. Its surface has no symbol, no glow, no whisper. It is dark, matte, still. You place your hand on it. The jar warms slowly, as though deciding whether to trust you. Then, softly, it begins to vibrate. A faint light grows from within, not bright, but warm, like the first glow of dawn. You lift the lid. Inside is not a scene or a sound. It's a feeling. A deep, slow sense of longing. Not sadness. Not loss. Just the quiet ache of something remembered only in sleep. A moment of pure peace. A breath taken without fear or urgency. A time when life moved slowly enough for the heart to notice itself. It fills you gently, warming your chest like honey steeped in hot water. You close the jar carefully. As you do, you hear footsteps behind you, soft, deliberate. You turn. The hooded figure stands in, the doorway again, hands folded calmly. There are parts of you, the figure says, that only night reveals. You swallow softly, understanding without fully knowing why. You've seen the dreams of others, the figure continues. Now, you will see the dream meant for you. The figure gestures toward a stairway you hadn't noticed before. A narrow, winding path illuminated by small floating orbs. Go, they whisper. The heart of the night waits above. You nod, feeling no fear, only a soft, sleepy anticipation. You place your foot on the first step and begin to climb toward your own medieval dream. You place your hand on the smooth stone wall as you begin the ascent. The stairway curves gently upward, each step worn into a shallow dip by countless dream walkers before you. The floating orbs drift upward in slow spirals, guiding you like patient companions. Their glow is soft, never bright, never sharp like candlelight seen through warm fabric. The air grows warmer as you climb, filled with a faint scent of chamomile and something sweetly herbal. It reminds you of quiet evenings, of old remedies simmering over a low fire, of moments when the world outside had finally fallen asleep. Your breathing deepens. Your body, wherever it lies in the waking world, seems to sink even heavier into rest. Halfway up, you pause at a small arched window cut into the stone. You lean toward it and look out. The dream village stretches below you, roofs glowing like embers, streets silvered by moonlight. From up here, the world looks gentle, soft, unhurried. You watch as a faint breeze rolls through the trees, leaving trails of shimmering light in its wake. You blink and realize the breeze is carrying something. Tiny flakes of golden dust drifting upward, rising toward you like fireflies ascending in slow motion. A few land on your arm, glowing for a moment, before melting into your skin with a comforting warmth. Medieval dream books never mentioned golden dust, but if they had, they'd probably have described it as a blessing, or witchcraft. There was rarely a middle ground. You continue your ascent, the stairs narrow as you climb, the orbs drifting closer, a circle of soft light around your face. At last, you reach a small landing. A wooden door waits at the top, plain but sturdy. No lock, no carvings, just the faintest trace of symbols worn into the grain circles, spirals, stars like memories carved by fingertips long ago. You touch the door. It opens inward with a soft sigh, and you step into a room unlike any you've seen tonight. It is small, round, and filled with a warm glow that seems to come from everywhere at once. Thick woolen blankets lay folded neatly on a bench. A small fire crackles in a hearth no larger than a child's cradle. Above it hangs a simple iron pot, simmering with something fragrant, rosemary, barley, and a hint of honey. In the corner sits a wooden cradle, rocking slightly, though no one has touched it. You approach it slowly. Inside lies a bundle of cloth, wrapped tightly but not a baby. Instead, nestled within the folds is an object, a small wooden mask, carved with simple features and painted with faint traces of color. Soft eyes, a gentle smile, a calm expression. You lift the mask carefully. It's warm to the touch. And then the realization washes over you. This mask looks familiar, not identical, but reminiscent, like a softened reflection of your own face, shaped through the lens of medieval imagination. People in the Middle Ages sometimes dreamed of masks as symbols of truth and hidden selves, layers. The dreamer was ready, or afraid, to explore. Historians still debate whether these were psychological insights or just medieval anxieties wearing theatrical costumes. As you hold the mask, the room grows still. The fire quiets. The air waits. And you feel something shift inside you, not a jolt, more like a door slowly opening in a silent hallway of your mind. You set the mask gently back in the cradle and turn toward the only other door in the room, tucked beside the hearth. A faint glow leaks from beneath it, pulsing like a slow heartbeat. You walk toward it. Your hand rests on the handle. The hooded figure's voice drifts from somewhere distant, not behind you, not ahead, but all around, as though woven into the air itself. What you seek, the voice whispers, has been dreaming of you, too. You breathe in deeply and open the door. You step through the doorway and feel the air change instantly. It grows warmer, softer, and so still that even your breath seems hesitant to disturb it. The room before you is dark, not empty dark or frightening dark, but the kind of darkness that feels like velvet. Thick, gentle, protective. As your eyes adjust, small points of light begin to glow across the circular walls, appearing one by one like stars waking after a long rest. They shimmer in faint patterns, forming constellations that seem half familiar, half invented just for you. You take a step forward. The floor feels like smooth stone warmed by sunlight. In the center of the room rests a shallow basin carved from polished limestone. Inside, it glows a pool of silver light, not water, not flame, but something softly luminescent, like moonlight that decided to take a liquid form. You kneel beside the basin. The surface of the silver light ripples slowly, reflecting shadows of memories you haven't thought about in years. A quiet hum rises from it, steady, soothing like the low note of a distant choir. You lean closer. Your reflection appears on the surface, but it doesn't behave like reflections normally do. Instead of mirroring your every movement, it looks at you directly, calmly, almost knowingly. Its expression is softer than your waking one, as though softened by centuries of medieval candlelight. A faint breeze stirs behind you. You turn. The hooded figure stands at the edge of the room, not fully inside, just half present, watching you with quiet interest. This chamber, the figure says, voice warm, is where dreams become mirrors, not of the world, but of the dreamer. You swallow gently. The room seems to pulse with your heartbeat, each thrum softening the darkness further. The pool brightens. You look into it again, and your reflection gives way to a new vision. A scene shifting into clarity like ink blooming across vellum. A small room lit by candlelight. A table with quills and parchment. A window open to the sound of night birds. A figure sitting alone, writing slowly, steadying their breath with each word. You watch as the figure pauses, flexing tired fingers. They lift their head toward the window, hoping for inspiration, comfort, or simply a moment's rest. Their face is familiar, not you, but someone you understand instinctively, the way you understand a recurring dream. The figure breathes deeply and continues writing. You feel something warm, settle, in your chest, recognition perhaps, or empathy for a life lived centuries ago under the same moon that now lights your dream. The pool shifts again. Another scene forms. A meadow at dusk. Children weaving flowers into garlands. A woman laughing softly as she wipes flour from her apron. A dog sleeping near a basket of grain. Ordinary moments, tender moments. Moments that would never appear in history books, but lived quietly in countless medieval lives. You feel them as if they're memories borrowed from someone else's heart. The pool brightens once more. This time, it shows the village you walk through tonight, but different. It glows not with dreamlight, but with dawnlight. People move through the street carrying buckets, bread, tools. Their faces are softened with exercise, worry, relief, pride, everything life contains. And then you notice something startling. The child carrying the carved wooden fish, the old man brushing dust from his wool tunic, the woman spinning, thread with gentle patience. All of them pause, turn, and look directly at you. Not the you in the dream. You, the watcher, the wanderer, the visitor inside their dreaming world. Their gazes are calm, kind, as if silently saying, "We dreamed too, we felt too, we lived entire worlds while we slept." You blink, your throat tightening with unexpected warmth. The pool dims, its light settling into gentle silver. The hooded figure steps closer, not threatening, but reassuring. "Dreams," the figure says softly, "are where the past remembers itself." You exhale, slowly, deeply, like your lungs finally understood the room. The figure gestures toward another doorway across the chamber. A tall archway carved with symbols you recognize from earlier. The spiral, the wooden fish, the tiny shoe, the comb. All that you have gathered, the figure says, has prepared you for what lies beyond. You stand. The dream shifts around your feet, warm and steady. You step toward the archway. You step beneath the tall archway, and for a moment the world holds its breath. The symbols carved into the stone, the spiral, the fish, the child's shoe. The comb seem to glow faintly as you pass, as though recognizing you, or acknowledging you, or simply stretching after centuries of not being noticed. The air on the other side is warmer, thicker, almost velvet-like against your skin. You feel a soft pressure settle around your shoulders, not heavy, just welcoming like a cloak draped by invisible hands. The ground beneath your feet changes, turning from smooth stone into soft earth. A faint hum vibrates through it, a low, steady pulse that feels ancient. Ahead stretches a vast field of tall grass, swaying gently, even though there is no wind. Each blade glows with moon-touch silver, and the movement creates a ripple effect, like waves rolling across an illuminated sea. The sky above is no longer the tidy medieval night sky. From earlier, this one feels deeper, stranger, full of drifting constellations that spiral and reform into new shapes every few seconds. You walk slowly into the grass, feeling it brush softly against your hands. There's a faint scent in the air, clover and wild mint, mixed with the earthy smell of freshly tilled soil. It soothes something in you that you didn't realize needed soothing. Far off, you hear bells, but not church bells. These sound smaller, lighter, almost playful, like bells tied to the collar of a wandering animal, or hung from the rafters of a small shrine. Medieval villagers placed bells in all sorts of places to ward off trouble, or, in some cases, to encourage it to move along politely. As you walk, the bells chime steadily with each step you take, though you still see no source. The sound seems to follow you, not hauntingly but companionably, like a curious friend who keeps pace without crowding. A faint path appears in the grass, not carved, just gently pressed down. You follow it until the shape appears in the distance, a large tree rising from the center of the field. Its branches are impossibly wide, spreading like open arms. Its leaves glow with a warm golden hue, as though lit from within by captured sunlight. Tendrils of light flutter around the trunk like fireflies caught in a slow dance. Medieval dream lore adored trees. They represented knowledge, family, resilience, divine blessing, or depending on the writer, a warning to stop eating cheese before bed. Historians still debate which interpretation was most popular, but you suspect it depended largely on whether someone's roof had recently collapsed. You approach the tree, feeling the soft earth shift beneath your feet. As you draw closer, you notice something carved into the bark. The spiral symbol again, though larger now, deeper, almost pulsing with its own soft rhythm. You reach out and place your hand against it. Warmth floods your palm instantly. Not overwhelming, but comforting, like resting your hand on the back of someone who's been sitting near the fire. The tree hums faintly, and the spiral brightens beneath your touch. Then the world flickers. Just once, like a candle flame shifting in a breeze. And suddenly, the tree is no longer just a tree. Images shimmer across its bark, glowing softly. The child holding the wooden fish. The forest path glowing under lantern light. The tiny pottery shard. The cradle with the wooden mask. The dreamers in the hall of whispers. The jars of forgotten sleep. The silver pool of personal visions. Everything you've encountered tonight blooms across the trunk in slow, luminous patterns. Each scene unfurls like a painted tapestry coming alive. You step back slightly, breath catching in your chest. The tree is remembering your journey. Or perhaps you are remembering something through it. A soft voice drifts down from above, not the hooded figure's voice, but something older, softer, like an ancient lullaby spoken through leaves and moonlight. Dreams are threads. Threads become paths. Paths become stories. Stories become memory. You tilt your head upward. A figure sits among the branches, not hooded, not hidden. Just a person, ordinary in shape, extraordinary in presence. They look carved from starlight and candle smoke, their face warm and unreadable. They lean forward slightly, studying you with quiet curiosity. You've gathered the signs, they say, voice gentle as chamomile in warm water. Now, you must listen to what they're trying to tell you. You swallow, your heartbeat slow, steady. What are they telling me? You ask. The figure smiles faintly. That your dream is not separate from theirs, they say. The medieval mind was not simpler, only slower, only quieter. And in that quiet, people dreamed of comfort, of fear, of hope, of meaning the same things you dream of now. They pluck a glowing leaf from the branch and let it fall. It drifts down in slow spirals. Landing. In your open hand, the leaf becomes a small piece of parchment. On it, a single line. The heart seeks gentleness, even in crowded centuries. You exhale, the words settling deeply inside you. The figure nods. You're ready, they say softly. Go on. A new path opens through the grass, bright, warm, winding towards something unseen. You step forward, carrying the leaf parchment gently. The night deepens around you, calm and vast. You walk along the newly opened path, the parchment leaf warm in your hand, its glow gently pulsing with your heartbeat. The tall grass parts softly, bowing as you pass, as though the dream itself has taken on the politeness of a medieval host. The air grows cooler again, carrying the scent of damp earth and distant water. Somewhere ahead, you hear a faint rush, like silk brushing over stone. The path slopes downward. Moments later, you see it. A wide river cutting through the dreamscape, shimmering like liquid moonlight. Its surface glows with soft blues and silver gold ripples that move even when the air is still. The river is calm, not still, not tumultuous, just steadily flowing. The way time flows in a place where no clocks exist. The sound is soothing, rhythmic, a gentle hush that seems to quiet even your thoughts. You step closer. Large stones line the riverbank, smooth as if worn by centuries of barefoot wanderers. You kneel beside one and touch the water. It feels cool, not cold, like dipping your hand into a bowl of milk left near a hearth overnight. As your fingers graze the surface, the river reacts. Images appear faint at first, then clearer, like drawings coming to life beneath glass. A medieval woman, kneeling by her cottage door, whispering a prayer before sleep. A young man staring into the night sky, hoping for a sign or reassurance. A child curled under a blanket, dreaming of animals that speak kindly. A monk writing down someone else's dream because they were afraid to forget it. These visions drift across the water like slow-moving boats. The river is showing you the dreams of people who lived long before you. You watch as another image forms. A man tossing on his straw bed, dreaming of a bright star falling into a nearby field. He wakes the next morning convinced it was a sign to check on his neighbor's crops. The neighbor, amused but grateful, discovers a fox digging in the chicken coop and shoos it away. And the man believes deeply that the dream saved his neighbor's fortune. Dreams mattered profoundly here. They guided lives, shaped decisions, softened grief, inspired courage, or simply brought comfort in the long, dark hours before dawn. You dip your hand again, Another vision blooms. A medieval girl dreaming of a river lined with candles, each one carrying a wish. She wakes and tells her mother, who smiles gently and says, "Your heart is bright. It lights your sleep." You feel that brightness now, warm as candle flames settling in your chest. A soft rustling draws your attention to the opposite riverbank. The hooded figure stands there, distant but unmistakable, watching you with quiet patience. They raise a hand, and the river glows brighter for a moment, as if encouraged by their presence. You see, the figure calls across the water, voice drifting like smoke, that dreams were bridges, not escapes. People crossed them to understand what waking life could not explain. You nod slowly. The figure gestures toward a cluster of stepping stones that appear suddenly on the surface of the river, smooth, rounded, evenly spaced. They glow faintly. "Cross," the figure says gently. "There is another side to this night." You stand, the soft earth supporting you like a hand. Holding the glowing parchment leaf close, you step onto the first stone. It's warm beneath your foot. The river hums a soft note in response, a low chord that vibrates through your bones like a lullaby. You take another step, then another. Each stone carries a faint inscription, words you can only read for a moment before they fade. Hope, memory, comfort, fear, curiosity. You realize these aren't warnings. They're simply the things medieval people dreamed about. And the things you dream about, too. Halfway across, you pause, watching the water swirl beneath you. The river no longer shows other people's dreams. Now, it shows yours. Moments you forgot. Moments that shaped you. Little pieces of quiet longing you never named. Flashes of comfort you didn't realize you carried. The river holds them gently, without judgment. The hooded figure watches, silent, waiting. You take the final steps and reach the far bank. The earth here feels warmer, richer, as if infused with old stories. The figure nods once, approving. "Come," they say softly. They turn toward a new path, illuminated by lanterns, shaped like floating orbs. They light one by one as you approach, forming a golden trail stretching into the distance. "This is the way," the figure murmurs, "toward the dreams that teach and the dreams that heal." You walk beside them. The dream never rushes you. The night opens calmly before you. You follow the hooded figure along the lantern-lit path, the soft orbs drifting ahead like patient guides. Each one rises just slightly as you approach, lighting a few paces more, then settling again. Gentle, deliberate, as though the dream refuses to rush your steps. The air grows warmer, sweeter, carrying the scent of something floral. Not a distinct flower, more like the idea of blossoms, softened through centuries of memory. The path widens. You step into a garden. Not quite medieval, not quite dreamlike, something between both worlds. Neatly tended beds line the space, growing herbs that shimmer faintly under moonlight. Sage, lavender, rosemary, hyssop. Their leaves glow with soft blue and green hues, their shadows long and wavering. Along the borders, fruit trees arch overhead, their branches heavy with apples, pears, and plums that glisten as though polished by the night itself. In the center of the garden stands a large stone fountain. Instead of water, it holds a pool of starlight, soft, luminous, swirling slowly like warm milk. The sound it makes is soothing, like snow falling on old rooftops. You inhale deeply. The entire garden smells like healing, rest, good sleep. People once dreamed here, the hooded figure says softly, stepping beside you. Not in this place exactly, but in gardens like this. Quiet spaces tended at the edges of villages or monasteries, places where day softened into night. You glance at the herbs again, noticing how they lean inward as though listening. The figure continues. In the Middle Ages, dreams were woven with the scent of the day. Lavender hung above beds. Rosemary boiled in pots to clear the air. Sweet herbs crushed underfoot. Sleep and smell were close relatives. You touch a sprig of lavender. It brightens beneath your fingers, glowing warmly. As you explore, you notice something strange. Carved wooden benches circling the fountain. Each bench holds a small object placed carefully on top. A bundle of dried leaves, a carved spoon, a child's doll made from scraps of cloth. A tiny wooden horse. Everyday items. Sleepless world items. Objects someone loved quietly. You realize this garden isn't a place of grandeur. It's a place of memory. A place of comfort. You sit on one of the benches. The hooded figure stands across the fountain from you, hands clasped gently before them. Their hood lifts slightly, not enough to reveal a face, but enough to show the outline of a kind expression. This is the garden of the quiet mind, they say, where dreams soften and worries unravel. You nod, feeling something in your chest loosen. The fountain glows brighter. Ripples form across the starlit surface. Then slowly, delicately, an image forms in the pool. You lean forward. It shows you, not the dream you, the waking you, sitting at a table, or a desk, or perhaps simply holding a phone. Your modern world blending with the candlelit tones of the medieval dream. Your expression is calm, thoughtful, maybe a little tired. The hooded figure speaks softly. You came here seeking stories, but you also came here seeking rest. The image shifts. You lying in your own bed, breathing slowly, the room around you fading softly, into shadow. The quiet of a late night, where the world feels gentle. A moment where your mind has room to breathe. You forget, the figure says, that dreams do not belong only to ages past. They belong to everyone who needs them. You exhale, the truth settling deeply. The pool clears. The image fades. The garden's lanterns flicker in a slow, comforting rhythm. You rise from the bench and walk to the fountain's edge. The hooded figure steps forward and places a hand over the water. The starlight brightens beneath their palm. Take this with you, they say. From the center of the pool, a small orb of soft silver light rises. It drifts toward you and nestles into your open hands. It feels warmer than anything in the dream so far, almost shaped like a heartbeat. What is it? You whisper. The figure answers, a dream from long ago, one that wanted to be remembered. You hold it gently. It slowly dissolves into your palms, sinking into you like warmth, spreading through cool water. The sensation is comforting, grounding, peaceful. The garden glows brighter for a moment, as if approving. The hooded figure steps back and gestures toward another path, one lined with low stone lanterns, leading to a soft archway of intertwining branches. This way, they say, voice low, toward the dreams that speak. You walk with them, the garden fading behind you. Ahead lies a deeper layer of the night, quiet, thoughtful, ancient, waiting. You step beneath the archway of intertwining branches, and the garden dissolves behind you like mist touched by morning light. Ahead stretches a long, quiet corridor of trees, tall, slender, and gently bowed inward, their leaves whispering softly, even though no wind moves through them. The path beneath your feet is smooth earth, warm as if held in sunlight all day. Tiny fireflies drift lazily at ankle height, pulsing with slow, sleepy light. The hooded figure walks beside you without speaking. You feel no need to fill the silence. The dream itself seems to breathe, inhale, exhale, moving you forward with a rhythm as slow and comforting as a heartbeat. After a while, the trees thin, revealing a clearing surrounded by moss-covered stones arranged in a circle. Each stone is carved with symbols, simple lines, spirals, waves, shapes that look halfway between letters and memories. Some glow faintly, others wait patiently, as though they haven't been spoken to in centuries. In the center of the circle rises a single pillar, not tall, not grand, just sturdy. A faint swirl of light hovers above it like a small cloud of warm smoke. The hooded figure gestures toward the pillar. This is where dreams learn to speak, they whisper, not with words born of waking minds, but with meanings shaped by the night. You raise an eyebrow slightly. Dreams. Speak. The figure tilts their head. They always have. You simply forget the language by morning. You step closer to the first pillar. The swirl of light brightens as you approach, as though recognizing your presence. It stretches upward, forming a faint shape, nothing distinct, just a suggestion of form. Then a voice fills the clearing. Not loud, not startling, more like a warm breeze brushing past your ear. You walk gently, it says. This is good. You blink slowly. Ah, you the dream? The voice chuckles soft, airy, almost amused. I am part of it, the voice replies. The way a ripple is part of the river. You glance at the hooded figure, who nods encouragingly. The voice continues. You have carried symbols across the night. A comb, a shoe, a fish, a shard of clay, a spiral, a mask. These things do not appear by accident. You open your mouth to respond, but the voice flows gently onward. They belong not only to the medieval world you seek, but to the questions you carry. Questions about meaning, about rest, about the weight you hold even when your body sleeps. The clearing warms around you. Moss glows beneath your feet. The carved stones hum softly like a choir of distant monks. What questions? You whisper. The voice answers without hesitation. The ones you rarely speak aloud. The ones that slip into your thoughts just before sleep, when the world grows quiet enough to hear them. You inhale slowly, your chest loosening with the breath. The swirl of light shifts, forming a shape like a hand reaching not toward you, but upward, as though searching for something beyond the dream. In the Middle Ages, the voice continues, people feared their dreams, loved them, clung to them. They believed dreams offered clarity when life refused to make sense. You nod. And now, the voice says, you come to them for rest, for escape, for gentle understanding. A pause. For a place where your thoughts can finally slow down. The hooded figure steps forward. Dreams aren't here to confuse you, they say, softly. They're here to hold what feels heavy until you're ready to let it go. The clearing brightens further. The swirling light above the pillar expands, filling the air with a soft shimmer. Then it speaks again, quieter this time. Would you like to see what your dream has been carrying for you? You swallow, not with fear, just anticipation softened by exhaustion. The kind of emotional tiredness you only feel late at night when the world is silent. Yes, you whisper. Show me. The light stretches outward, gathering itself, then presses gently into your chest. A warmth blooms. Not overwhelming, not painful, just releasing. For a moment the clearing fades, and you see flashes, tiny, tender, unremarkable moments of your own life. A quiet walk at dusk, a time you felt unexpectedly safe, a moment you wished someone had understood you. A night you lay awake, needing rest more than anything. A day you carried more than you could name. None are dramatic, but all feel familiar, important. The dream shows them without judgment, without commentary, without pressure to interpret, just offering them back to you gently held, softened, easier now. When the images fade, the clearing returns, luminous and still. You see, the voice says, dreams remember even when you do not. You breathe out slowly, deeply, the kind of breath that feels like letting go of a weight you weren't aware you were carrying. The hooded figure gently touches your shoulder, not to guide you, but in reassurance. There is more ahead, they say softly. But what comes next requires calm. You nod. They gesture toward a new path opening through the trees lined with dim lanterns shaped like droplets of moonlight. This way, the figure murmurs, toward the dreamer's heart. You take a slow step forward, feeling the night tighten around you like a soft cloak. You follow the hooded figure onto the lantern-lit path, and the forest, it seems to fold gently around you. The air grows warmer, almost like the hush that settles over a room after someone blows out a candle. The lanterns hanging along the path glow dimmer now, not fading, but softening, as though preparing you for a place where even light must whisper. The figure walks slowly, matching your pace. Neither of you speaks. The dream feels delicate here, like a quiet thought you don't want to disturb. The trees thin until they disappear entirely, and the path opens into a wide, smooth expanse of pale stone. In the center stands a low, circular platform, bathed in the faintest golden glow. Above it hangs a single orb of light larger than the ones you've seen before, yet gentler, as though made from the softest part of the night. It pulses slowly, like the inhale and exhale of a sleeping world. The hooded figure stops at the platform's edge. This, they say quietly, is the dreamer's heart, the place where all the threads gather. You swallow, softly. Whose heart? The figure's hood tilts slightly. Yours, they answer, and everyone's. A shared space where the oldest dreams live, the ones that drift from age to age without losing their meaning. You step onto the platform. It's warm beneath your feet, like standing on sunlit stone after a long morning. The orb brightens slightly as you approach, responding to your presence. "What do I do?" you ask. "Nothing," the figure says. "You only listen." You close your eyes, letting the warmth settle deeper into your chest. The orb hums faintly, not a sound. Exactly, but a vibration that feels like peace moving through your ribs. Slowly, images begin to form behind your eyelids. Not scenes, not stories, just feelings. A desire for rest, a longing for gentleness. The ache of days that feel too heavy, the comfort of nights that soften the world, the small hope that tomorrow will be kinder. These feelings swirl together, and you realize something quietly profound. They are the same feelings medieval people had, across centuries, languages, belief systems, and rough straw mattresses. The core human experience remained exhaustion, wonder, worry, tiny joys, quiet fears, and the need for dreams to hold what waking life could not. You open your eyes. The orb pulses brighter, blooming like a soft sun. Its light reaches toward you in warm strands, settling around your shoulders like a shawl. You feel yourself breathe more deeply than you have all night. "You understand now," the figure whispers. The dreams of the Middle Ages were not strange, not primitive, not distant. They were simply human. The platform hums gently beneath your feet. And so are yours. You lower your head, letting the truth settle like soft dust. The orb dims, just slightly. The hooded figure steps closer, voice warm. You have walked through symbols, through memory, through other people's nights. But the deepest dream is always this, recognizing yourself in the hearts of those who came before. A slow exhale escapes you, steady and releasing. The figure lifts a hand, and the orb dissolves into thousands of tiny lights that drift upward like sparks rising from a fire. They float into the darkness, lingering as little stars, before fading gently into the night. The platform cools beneath your feet. "You've reached the center," the figure says, "but the night still holds one last path." They extend a hand toward the shadows behind you. A new doorway is forming there, tall, simple, framed by soft moonlight that curves like a smile. "What's beyond it?" you ask. The hooded figure answers with the faintest hint of a knowing tone. "The final dream, the one that belongs only to you." You approach the doorway. Your heart beats slow, steady, ready. You step forward, and the night opens. You step through the tall, moonlit doorway, and immediately the air shifts around you, warm, still, and weighted with a kind of quiet that feels almost sacred. The world forms slowly, as though reluctant to reveal itself all at once. A deep blue sky appears overhead, flecked with slow-drifting stars that pulse softly like sleepy fireflies. Beneath your feet, the ground becomes a smooth expanse of pale sand, shimmering faintly with every gentle movement you make. There is no wind, no rustling leaves, no distant sounds, only a stillness so complete that it feels like breathing in silence itself. In the center of this dream sand lies a single structure, a small wooden hut, simple and weathered, its roof made from bundles of reeds bound tightly with twine. It feels medieval, yet timeless, like a place that could exist in any century, in any culture. Wherever someone needed a quiet corner to rest, a faint glow escapes through the cracks between the planks. You walk toward it slowly, each step sinking softly into the warm sand. As you reach the door, it swings open with a gentle creak, as if it has been waiting for your hand, but decided to save you the effort. Inside is a single room, small, circular, and lit not by candles, but by a soft, glowing orb tucked into a woven basket on the floor. Its light is warm and steady, illuminating everything with the golden softness of late summer afternoons. In the center of the room sits someone you have not met before. Not the hooded figure, not the starlit being in the tree, not a medieval villager from the Wandering Dreams. This person looks familiar, not because you recognize their face, but because their posture, their presence, their gentle stillness feel like echoes of your own quiet moments, the ones you rarely show anyone. They sit cross-legged, wearing simple linen clothes, head slightly bowed as though listening to something only they can hear. They slowly look up. Their eyes are calm, steady, reflecting the same warm glow that fills the room. Their expression is neutral but kind, like someone who understands you without needing explanations. "Welcome," they say softly. "I am the Dream Keeper." Their voice is neither old nor young, neither male nor female. It's simply warm. It feels like a hand placed gently on your back after a difficult day. "You've come far," the Dream Keeper says. "Further than most who wander the night." You sit across from them without needing an invitation. "Why am I here?" you ask, your voice as soft as theirs. The Dream Keeper folds their hands in their lap. "To understand the dreams of the Middle Ages," they say, "you had to walk through the dreams of others, the old symbols, the memories, the forgotten hopes." Their gaze softens. "But this last dream is not about them. It is about you." The orb in the basket brightens a little, casting soft shadows that sway like slow-moving water. The Dream Keeper gestures toward it. "This is your dream's core," they explain. "The part that holds everything you cannot hold during the day." You stare at the orb, noticing that it pulses gently from within as though breathing. "What does it hold?" You whisper. "Only what you're ready to see," the Dream Keeper replies. With a slow, graceful motion, they lift the orb from the basket and place it in your hands. The moment it touches your palms, warmth flows into your chest, your shoulders, your throat. Your breath deepens without you telling it to. The orb glows brighter. Inside it, faint shapes begin to form. Nothing alarming, nothing sharp, just soft outlines. A quiet place you wish you could return to. A memory of safety. A moment you were proud of, but didn't linger on. A small hurt you carried longer than you meant to. A wish you rarely say aloud. A calm you seldom let yourself feel. The orb reveals them not as burdens, but as gentle truths, like seeing your own reflection soften through clean water. Tears fill your eyes, not from sadness, but from recognition, from the relief of finally meeting the quiet parts of yourself without judgment. The Dream Keeper watches with patience, with understanding. "This," they say, "is why people dreamed so vividly in the Middle Ages. The world was hard, life was demanding, but dreams offered a place where the heart could breathe." They lean forward slightly, and so they do still. You hold the orb close, letting its warmth soak deeper into your hands until the glow slowly dissolves into your skin. The warmth remains a quiet anchor in the center of your chest. The Dream Keeper rises to their feet, extending a hand to help you stand. "It is time," they say softly. "For what?" you ask. "For the night to carry you back." You take a slow breath. The Dream Keeper walks to the doorway and gestures. Beyond it, the sand has turned darker, like the first hint of dawn. "Follow the dimming light," they say. "The dream will guide you." You step out of the hut. The Dream Keeper's voice follows you, drifting like a lullaby. You have seen the dreams of the past, now rest in your own. The door closes gently behind you, and the sand begins to glow beneath your feet. You walk away from the Dream Keeper's hut, the sand glowing faintly beneath your footsteps. Each step feels lighter than the one before it, as though the dream itself is easing the weight from your shoulders. The darkness above you has softened, not disappearing, just fading into a cool, deep blue. It's the hour before dawn, when even dreams begin to grow drowsy. A thin path appears in the sand, drawn by light rather than carved by footsteps. It winds gently, meandering like a river, unwilling to rush. You follow it, feeling the warmth from the orb now dissolved inside you, lingering beneath your ribs. The glow moves with your breathing, softening the edges of your thoughts. The hooded figure appears beside you once more. Not emerging from shadows, not stepping out from behind anything, simply present, as though they've been waiting at the right moment. Their presence feels familiar now, almost comforting. "This path leads you back," they say quietly. But the return is part of the dream too. The sand shifts into grass again, tall and silvered, brushing softly against your legs. Morning light has not yet reached the horizon, but a pale brightness glows there, promising its arrival. The air carries a faint chill, now crisp, clean, like early morning air in a world without factories or engines or noise. In the distance, you see outlines forming. Rooftops, chimneys, the curved shape of the village well. The medieval village glows gently in the half-light, peaceful in a way that morning villages seldom are. It feels as though the whole world is holding its breath, waiting for the sun. You step into the village square. Earlier, it was lit by dream moonlight. Now, it rests in the soft blue shadow of near morning. The apples in the cart gleam softly. The herbs hanging in the alley sway with a hint of breeze. The wooden doors hum faintly with warmth left over from the night. As you walk past the courtyard, where the water basin stood, you pause. The basin remains, but the water no longer shows visions. It's simply still, quiet, reflective, and when you look down, you see only yourself present, calm, unchanged, yet somehow lighter. The hooded figure gestures toward the main street. Dreams never leave empty-handed, they say. They leave you with understanding, sometimes small, sometimes deep. You feel the warmth in your chest, pulse once in agreement. You continue down the lane. A few chickens shuffle sleepily near a doorway. A cat stretches with theatrical dignity before settling near a barrel. A faint plume of smoke curls from a distant chimney. Though no fire burns, yet it may simply be the dream remembering what mornings used to look like. When you reach the edge of the village, the hooded figure stops. You've walked through symbols and memories, they say softly. But more importantly, you've walked through gentleness. You turn toward them, waiting. In the Middle Ages, dreams were the one place people could feel safe, they explain. Safe from work, safe from weather, safe from fear, safe to imagine, safe to hope. Their voice lowers, safe to rest. A warm wind rolls through the village, carrying the faint scent of baked grain, hay, and distant rain. It brushes your face gently, like a blessing. You needed that, the figure says. You nod, understanding without needing words. They lift a hand and point toward the horizon. A pale line of light appears the first breath of dawn. It's time, the figure whispers. Let the dream lead you out gently. The light grows brighter, stretching across the fields, sliding over rooftops, bathing the village in a soft gold that glows from within rather than above. The figure's form begins to fade, not dramatically, not suddenly, just slowly dissolving like mist touched by warmth. Remember, they murmur, as the light swallows their silhouette. Night reveals what daylight forgets. Their final whisper lingers, and you are allowed to rest. Even now, you inhale deeply, letting the dream fill your lungs one last time. The light brightens, your vision softens, and the path ahead becomes a warm, glowing blur. The light ahead grows warmer, gathering into a wide, gentle glow that spreads across the horizon like a slow, unfurling ribbon of dawn. You walk toward it step by step, the sand gradually turning into packed earth beneath your feet, firm, familiar, grounding. The faint warmth in your chest, left behind by the dreamkeeper's orb, pulses softly in time with your breaths. You hear the distant rustle of wheat fields waking before the sun. The breeze carries the scent of morning dew settling on wooden beams, of hearth smoke that hasn't yet begun rising, of earth stretching quietly under the first hint of light. Everything feels slow, softened by the last moments of night. As you follow the path, you realize the medieval village is no longer behind you. It's beside you, shifting gently like a memory, choosing its place in your thoughts. The rooftops appear and fade like lanterns in distant fog. The streets you walked earlier feel closer now, as if they've settled into your mind rather than the dream. You place your hand on a wooden fence post nearby. It feels warm despite the hour, the way wood absorbs dreams as easily as sunlight. You run your fingers along the grain and notice a tiny carving you didn't see before, the spiral symbol, this time smaller, no bigger than your fingernail. Quiet, familiar, a reminder, not an instruction. You continue on. The hooded figure does not return, not because they've abandoned you, but because you no longer need their presence to guide your steps. The path itself knows where you're going, and you can feel the dream thinning gently, the way morning mist pulls back into the sky. Crickets hum softly in the distance, slower now, as if growing sleepy while you wake. A faint chorus of early birds chimes in with hesitant notes. It's the dream's version of dawn, a blend of before and after, of worlds overlapping for just a breath. You step into a field of silvered grass. Each blade bends lightly as you pass, and you sense something gathering around you, a soft awareness. Not a presence, not a voice, but the dream itself, taking a final shape. The grass shifts and glows faintly. The sky lightens. The breath of the world slows, and you know instinctively this is the last place you'll visit tonight. In the center of the field sits a small stone bench, plain, smooth, warmed by some gentle memory of sunlight. You sit, and the earth beneath you steadies. The warmth in your chest spreads through your shoulders, your spine, your hands, above. For you, the sky brightens another shade. A soft gold seeps into the blue. The dream stretches. And then, a single figure walks toward you from the far side of the field. No hood, no cloak, no mystery. It's the you who entered this dream. But calmer, softer, unburdened. They sit beside you, their presence as familiar as breath. This, they say quietly, is what people hoped dreams would do. Their voice is your voice, settled into stillness, to return them to themselves. You sit together in silence, watching as dawn uncurls like ribboned silk across the horizon. The sky glows brighter. The field warms under the growing light. The dream begins to blur softly, like ink dissolving gently into water. The other you stands and turns toward the horizon. So, they say, when you wake, wake slowly. They step forward and dissolve into the light like a sigh returning to the air. You remain for a moment longer, breathing deeply, letting the edges of the dream soften into golden haze. The medieval world fades, not erased, not forgotten, just settling into memory, becoming part of your night's tapestry. The sky brightens once more, the ground beneath you warms, and the dream releases you gently. You begin to wake. Now the night drifts into its quiet conclusion, the dream dissolving like warm mist rising from a still lake at dawn. You feel yourself lying once again in your own bed, the softness of your pillow cradling your head, the gentle weight of your blanket resting over you like a protective cloak. The medieval world is far behind you now, its lanterns dimming, its fields fading, its quiet figures retreating to their own restful corners of history. You breathe in slowly. The air enters warm. You breathe out even slower, and your body relaxes just a little more. Nothing asks for your attention now. Nothing requires thought. The stories, the symbols, the wandering paths, they have all folded themselves neatly into your memory, storing themselves away like tiny jars on a quiet shelf. They will stay there, held by the peaceful part of your mind, until you choose to return again. For now, there is only rest. Your arms grow heavy, your legs soften into stillness, your eyelids drift, warm and slow. Thoughts begin to stretch, lengthen, and fade like threads pulled gently through cloth. The world narrows to a warm, quiet place where nothing presses for meaning. The night breathes around you, patient and calm. If sleep hasn't found you yet, it is close, very close, moving toward you with soft, careful steps. Breathe softly. Allow your mind to grow quiet. Allow your body to sink. Allow the last traces of the dream to melt into comfort. You are safe. You are warm. You are allowed